everyone. This is Joy from Conservative Ladies of Washington, and I'm here to bring you our bill of the day, House Bill 1590, having to do with resiliency for our children. As you may know, if you've been following our legislative updates, there is an overwhelming amount of legislation this particular session focusing on mental health, behavioral health, and social emotional learning for our children, specifically here in our public schools for this session in Washington. The bipartisan bill 1590 has been introduced into the House. It aims to integrate more self-resiliency and social emotional learning, also known as SEL, into our public schools. At the core of House Bill 1590, it encourages schools to teach skills like self-awareness, self-management, and social engagement under the guise of improving educational outcomes. It allocates funding for these programs. It monitors the schools and prioritizes the schools that they consider high poverty or high poverty areas, and if those schools have been specifically labeled high risk for youth suicide. It's in states like Florida, SEL is banned. However, they have the Florida Resiliency Toolkit, which is SEL rebranded under another name, and it appears that perhaps a national rebranding may be rolling out. First and foremost, this bill represents a significant overreach by the government into the domain of parents and families where they don't belong. The idea that schools should take on a role of teaching children how to manage their emotions, how to build personal resiliency, is a suggestion that they don't trust parents, and that they specifically don't trust parents to raise their children according to their values, according to their beliefs, and that education should be the place that happens, instead of education focusing on academic subjects and not on social engineering. Schools were meant for educating. It's where we have traditionally sent our children to learn how to do math, science, reading, the arts, writing, not to become a captured child in a mental health facility. And definitely not part of their social programming reforms. By expanding this curriculum to include SEL and self-resiliency, we continue to dilute the focus on academics and make it more about feelings. As we do that, we turn further and further away from a well-rounded education for our children. This is one of the number one reasons that parents are pulling their children from public education in Washington. They don't want their children indoctrinated. They want their children to excel academically. We have historically seen these programs serve as vehicles for political indoctrination. SEL and similar programs often come with curricula that push specific ideologies under the banner of social awareness. That often means that conservative values are pushed to the side, specifically about personal responsibility and about traditional family structure. And they're subtly undermined, or in some cases outright dismissed as being wrong or inappropriate, in favor of progressive ideas, progressive ideals, specifically concerning identity, equity, collective action, and it's an attack on the family and an attack on our children. Schools are taking more roles in mental health, and that is a real push that we see this session in Washington State. There's an increased risk with this to student privacy. Mental health data, like all other medical data, is very sensitive, and the government's involvement in collecting that data and managing that data could lead to breaches of privacy for your children. Parents should be the primary gatekeeper and guardians of this personal information. As you may know, the legislature is preparing to repeal the Parental Bill of Rights, also known as Initiative 2081, which will mean that parents will not have access to their child's mental health records and services that are rendered through the state institutions, which used to be known as public school. They will do this without parental consent or notification. There's no fiscal note attached to this right now. However, the bill does say that they commit to funding this through 2030. This would mean more education funding. The schools are failing in Washington. Our children are not being taught with the goal being academic excellence. They keep coming back for more taxes, yet our children continue to fall further and further behind. We do not believe that this is the answer. The answer is never more government, and it is certainly not removing parents from the lives of their children. This is our conservative take on House Bill 1590. Thanks.